In December 2022, NASA's Orion capsule returned from an uncrewed trip around the Moon. When recovery teams pulled it from the Pacific Ocean, they found something alarming: more than 100 locations where chunks of the heat shield had cracked and broken away. Big, brick-like pieces were missing. NASA spent the next year trying to figure out what went wrong. What they found wasn't reassuring. And now, in just days, 4 humans are about to launch on the exact same spacecraft with the exact same heat shield design. This is the story behind NASA's most dangerous mission in decades. Recovery teams circled the Orion capsule, eyes tracing the base for signs of trouble. They did not have to look far. The heat shield, Orion's last defense against 5,000-degree re-entry, looked like someone had taken a crowbar to it. More than 100 spots showed missing chunks, some the size of a child's fist. The surface was meant to char and slowly erode, but here, blocks had cracked and blown out completely. This was not a minor blemish. It was a pattern spread across a mosaic of 186 Avcoat blocks, each one a slab of NASA's best ablative material, now pitted and scarred. Inspectors peeled back layers of data, post-flight scans, ultrasonic, X-ray, CT, confirmed it was not just surface charring. Material was gone, deep into the blocks. In the lab, engineers recreated the same hellish conditions Orion had faced: arc jets, pressure chambers, thermal shock. The result was always the same. When the Avcoat blocks could not vent the gases generated inside, pressure built up. Then, pop. The block cracked and chunks shot away, just like on Artemis I. The old Apollo heat shields used honeycomb cells, hand-packed and checked by X-ray, each one a tiny pressure valve. Orion's blocks are bigger, denser, easier to build, but the trade-off is clear in the scars left behind. The physical evidence is undeniable. Over 100 wounds scattered across a shield that was supposed to be bulletproof. The question is not whether there was damage. It is why it happened, and what, if anything, can stop it from happening again. NASA faced a crossroads. The Orion heat shield wasn't just damaged, it was compromised in ways nobody predicted. But the shield was bonded to the capsule's frame. Swapping it out would mean tearing Orion apart, setting the program back years. So the agency made a call: keep the same design, change the way home. Skipping re-entry was out. Artemis II would come straight in, a steeper, hotter plunge, but over in seconds instead of minutes. The theory: less time for gases to build up, less chance for blocks to blow. Inside NASA, the mood split. The official briefing sounded confident. The independent review team signed off on the plan, at least on paper. But outside the glass walls, dissent grew louder. Charlie Camarda, who helped investigate Columbia, didn't mince words. "This whole design is wrong," he told a public meeting. "It's crazy to fly crewed without a full redesign." Dan Rasky, one of the minds behind NASA's best heat shields, called the situation like standing at the edge of a cliff on a foggy day. Even Danny Olivas, a former astronaut on the review panel, labeled it a deviant heat shield. Though after NASA's closed-door briefings, he softened, saying the agency has its arms around the problem. NASA's risk reports put the odds of catastrophe at less than 1 in 1,000. But critics pointed to redacted review documents and warned of Challenger's shadow, rushing to meet a schedule, betting lives on a fix that isn't a fix. Meanwhile, engineers were already at work on a new version, a more permeable Avcoat, micro-perforated for Artemis III. The message was clear. The current shield was a stopgap. The real solution was still in the lab. Yet 4 astronauts were already in quarantine, waiting for the countdown to begin. Reid Wiseman stood outside his daughter's bedroom with a folder in hand. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. He opened the folder, showed them where the will was kept, and tried to steady his voice. He said, "Here is where the will is, and if anything happens to me, here is what is going to happen to you. No bravado, just facts." That night, they made moon cupcakes together. He did not say it out loud, but everyone in the room knew what was at stake. Jeremy Hansen, the rookie from Canada, did not dress it up for his family either. He told them the most likely outcome is that we will come back safe. But he also said there is a chance we will not, and you will be able to move through life even if that happens. His wife nodded. Their kids asked about the moon, about the ship, about what happens if something goes wrong. Hansen answered every question. No one left the table with easy comfort. For months, these 4 astronauts have lived with the numbers. 1 in 1,000 odds. A shield with 100 scars. Training is supposed to turn risk into routine. But the truth hangs in the air. You cannot rehearse for a heat shield that already failed once. The world will see the launch, the flyby, the blackout behind the moon. But the private moments, the will on the shelf, the hushed talks after dinner, those are the real countdowns. That is where courage lives, in the quiet before the engines light. Victor Glover sits alone, headphones pressed tight, letting Gil Scott-Heron's Whitey on the Moon fill the silence. The song is more than background. It's a reminder of the history he carries as he prepares to become the first black astronaut to leave low Earth orbit. He tucks a Bible into his flight bag, the lyrics echoing in his mind as he suits up. For Glover, the milestone is both personal and collective, a promise to those who watched from the margins. Christina Koch fastens her badge, aware she is about to become the first woman to fly beyond Earth's gravity, the first to circle the moon. Her 328-day record on the International Space Station stands as the longest for any woman. When Fred Heise from Apollo 13 called to tease her about breaking records, she just smiled. Koch's quiet confidence is visible in a photo she posted from quarantine, camping with her rescue dog, Sadie Lou, a nod to every girl who ever wondered if she would get her chance. Jeremy Hansen, representing Canada, is the first non-American on an Artemis crew and the first to fly in deep space on his maiden mission. When his children asked about the risks, he answered honestly. Their family mascot, Reid, a plush hawk stitched with a maple leaf, was chosen in a contest at his old squadron and now rides with him, a symbol of shared hope. For this crew, the mission is more than records or flags. Every milestone sends a message home. This time, the moon belongs to everyone. April 1st, 2026. The clock hits 6:24 p.m. on Pad 39B at Kennedy. 4 astronauts strap in, hearts pounding, knowing exactly what is riding beneath them. A heat shield with scars no one can forget. Engines roar, and Artemis II slices through Florida dusk. 10 days. That is all they get. 4 days outbound, looping farther from Earth than Apollo 13 ever dared. Over 248,655 miles, setting a new record before the world even blinks. The plan is simple on paper: a free return arc, a slingshot around the moon and back. But nothing about this feels routine. On the far side, Earth vanishes for 41 minutes, radio silence, total blackout. No help, no second chances. Inside Orion, life support hums, every system on edge. The Environmental Control and Life Support System, ECLSS, faces its first real test in deep space. No backup, no escape hatch. There is more than just science riding along. The Avatar experiment, bone marrow organ chips, floats in a locker, betting on the future of medicine. just as the crew bets on their ride home. When Orion hits the atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, the numbers get biblical. 5,000 degrees outside, the capsule's fate hanging on 186 Avcoat blocks, the same kind that cracked and blew out last time. Splashdown waits in the Pacific, off San Diego. But between here and there, every second is a roll of the dice. The world is watching more than just 4 astronauts and a scarred heat shield. This flight is the hinge that will decide what comes next, not just for NASA, but for every nation with eyes on the moon. Behind closed doors, the agency tore up the old playbook. The Lunar Gateway, a planned outpost circling the moon, years in the making, was cancelled. In its place, the agency offered a $30 billion promise, a permanent base at the lunar South Pole, no more orbital way stations, no more half measures. The goal is boots in the dust, and soon. But the clock is ticking. China's space agency has set its own target, a crewed lunar landing by 2030 using the Long March 10 rocket. The race isn't science fiction anymore. Every Artemis flight is a message about who leads, who follows, and who gets left behind. With Artemis II, NASA is gambling its credibility, its budget, and its vision for the next decade on a single flight. If Orion fails, the moon base slips further out of reach. If it works, the South Pole becomes the new frontier. The stakes stretch far beyond the Pacific splashdown. The world is watching, and the next move belongs to whoever dares first. 4. Astronauts strap in, trusting a shield that already cracked. NASA gambles $30 billion and global prestige on a 41-minute blackout and a flawless landing off San Diego. The stakes aren't just technical, they're human. In space, there's no second chance. Would you bet your life on it?